We have a Patreon, Ian, don't we?
We do. Patreon.com/CD podcast. You go, you pay, you get weekly writings, you get hangouts, you get the full video podcast, you get bonus podcast bonus bits.
Me versus the returning House Mouse was this week's. And we have a poll topic. In second place, hardest NES boss fights, 29%. Really?
No one cares.
And in first place, games you are embarrassed to admit you enjoy at 71%.
Call of Duty, beauty.
Why Call of Duty, Ian?
Because I am not a military bro. I am not a gung-ho RR guy.
What?
I've never been particularly interested in wars or military maneuvers or weapons or tanks. But the amount of time I spent playing Call of Duty for Modern Warfare was probably some of the best video game memories.
Wow.
I have.
Back in the late aughts.
This was happening when you could still buy Sparks caffeinated malt liquor. So okay. I would drink a lot of Sparks caffeinated malt liquor.
Did not know that was a thing.
Well, there was Four Loko. That was caffeinated malt liquor, too. Sparks came first, though.
So you can more quickly throw it up.
Yeah, I would get real intense, and I would play those games until, like 4 a.m. But like, especially at the time, I was always known as like, I played a lot of rhythm games, a lot of puzzle games. I've always played lots of cutesy games. So it was very confusing for people when they saw that my Xbox Live Arcade handle was constantly playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 for like a year. That lightning only struck once, though. I did not get into Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Didn't even buy it. By the time 3 came out, I had moved on. I found nothing to replace that hole in my heart. It didn't spawn a particularly huge love of first-person shooters. I do like some of them, but like I play, I might play one new one every 2 or 3 years. I don't, there's a lot of people who play video games and that's like all they play. They've got the Call of Duties and the Battlefields and the Battlefronts and the things.
When you say you're embarrassed, though, were you like hiding this from your friends and colleagues?
I did kind of hide it. Yes, I did kind of hide it because it was just a very weird type of game for me to play. And I mean, I don't talk about it a lot on here, but I'm also like fairly vocally anti-war. So it was just weird to my friends at the time that I would be playing a game quite literally based on the Iraq War.
On warfare.
Yeah, on the Iraq War.
Was the first one was the first one in the Middle East, Modern Warfare?
There was a lot of it in the Middle East, yeah.
They go all over. It's like James Bond. They travel all over.
So yeah, it was weird. It was definitely something that I kept to myself, didn't really talk about, except for in like the small circles of people that I did play it with, and we would plan our games and play.
Okay. Was there any other ones that come to mind, or was just that?
No, we've talked kind of about games that we've been ashamed to play before, but like
shame is different than embarrassment.
Well, no, it's not. But I'm just trying, for the nature of this question, I'm trying to think of it as something slightly different.
Don't remind the Patreons that we did this like a year and a half ago.
Guys, we've been doing this for 8.5 years. It happens.
Yeah, I knew. Like, did we talk about this? I was like, yeah, a year and a half.
No, you're right, and I couldn't just think of how we phrased it.
Yeah, it was like we were ashamed of it. Wow, I don't think you ever told me that, Ian, before that Call of Duty, because like you don't want to be, you don't want your hippie friends to be like, oh, Ian, you like
hippies.
War.
I do not. I am not friends with hippies. I do.
You know what I mean, though?
Yes.
You'd be like, Ian, you think they would look down on you or outcast you?
No, it didn't seem like something I needed to bring up in conversation.
It was like me being in a fraternity. I'm embarrassed by it.
Sure, there you go.
It's like a black eye on my sort of like my human record.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But then again, I wasn't in my late 20s when I did that. But not that I'm not shaming you, Ian. That's fine. It's a video game. It's fake.
Exactly. It's silly.
So you're not embarrassed by like any, like dead or alive, big titties juggling around sort of game. You never got into that sort of stuff.
I mean, I've played
Automodius Excellent.
Odomodius Excellent. I don't talk about it a lot because there are some problems with the series, but I have played most of the Senran Kagura games.
What's that again?
I've played most of the Senran Kagura games.
No, what are those?
They're, for the most part, they are action games. But they involve women running around in bikinis, and the outfits fall off the more you hit them. There's never any nudity. But yeah, I've played like all
So
of
you're the protagonist, or
the-
you're hitting the girls?
You're the protagonist. I mean, it's girl ninjas versus girl ninjas. and
Oh,
monsters.
okay.
Yeah.
And you hit the girls, and they fall off, and your clothes fall off?
Your clothes fall off too.
So it's like a multi-stage Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins.
A little bit like that.
Yeah. Hey, that was the original eye candy, right? You're in your boxers after that. The male gaze was on Arthur's little heart-shaped little boxers. It was a heart? Yeah.
And I mean, I do have I collect mahjong games, and I love mahjong games.
I wouldn't be ashamed of that.
But I do
or
have an enormous amount of strip mahjong games.
Okay, you didn't tell me that.
And they're fun to play.
And it said an enormous amount.
Oh, there's tons of them. Tons and tons. So many of the mahjong games released on systems like the PC Engine, the Super Famicom, they were girly mahjong.
You got to spice it up, Ian.
Yeah, you do.
You got to spice up the games.
Sega Saturn had a lot of them.
Because otherwise, you get tired. I mean, mahjong's mahjong, right? How else can you? It's a mahjong game. You just change the tiles, but it's the same game, right? It doesn't change that much. There's a couple subsets, right? But it's same thing. Okay. I'll go into mine. What am I embarrassed to say I like? I love strip poker games. I haven't played them recently, but in college, I played a lot of them. What was the big one? Was it VST strip poker?
Yeah, because I used to love it.
That was one of the big commercial ones, one of the earlier ones that came out, and they had like packs. Was it called VST? Or video strip poker or something like that?
Yeah, it was something like that. I played it when I was younger, when it was still the JPEG packs that you loaded.
It was just JPEG packs.
Yeah, it was not videos.
Before they did videos, they would hire models to move around and do that. Strip poker game history, video game history. I'm looking up. Yeah, so I liked a lot of that. There was strip blackjack as well. We're talking like late 90s is when there was a ton of them. There was even browser ones, I remember.
Oh yeah.
I probably had viruses attached looking back. And I always I remember you go through like 4 or 5 different women, and the AI, they made the AI impossible to beat like the last ones, even though it should be random because it's blackjack or like poker. And they made it hard to like undress the last woman. I never forget that. It was really weird. It was a brunette too. I remember that. And I was like, I got through the 4. Why don't you let me do the 5th one? Why can't you let me do that? Strip poker games. Yeah, they still make them. The evolution of strip poker games. Oh, there's a whole website that has it here. Yeah, so strip poker, strip blackjack. They started in the 80s. There was Samantha Fox had one on overseas computers. But it was like the graphics, obviously. I mean, come on, it was like 87 or so. And there it is, Samantha. It was on the Commodore 64 in the UK. It was only $1.99. $1.99, really? One quid, 2 quid, as they say there. That was 86. And then you go on from there. Peekaboo Poker. I probably am slightly embarrassed to say this. I have played some of the, they're probably earlier, some of the hentai dating sims.
Sure.
Or they're always like, you're a guy in a new high school or college, you know what I mean? And there's like 3 or 4 different girls, and it's kind of choose your own adventure-ish, you know?
I've tried to play some of those. My problem is the main character is always written but like such a fucking complete jackass that I can't.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What do you mean? They're just like dumb, or they say the wrong thing? They always make them faceless, so that like it's like a real RPG. Then they show it's like faceless.
Yeah, the writing is just very bad. I mean, granted, of course, but
yeah, that's not why you're getting it. You're getting it because you want to see like 5 or 6. You want to see the 4, girls, and then like there's usually like a teacher, involved. Who's hey, stay after class, Roy, whatever they name the guy. It's just that. I was never really embarrassed about Leisure Suit Larry because to me that was a little bit more, a little more intelligent. There's jokes to it, and there's actually not that much nudity in those games at all.
No,
compared to the experience. So it's really not about that. It's more about the sleazy experience with that. What about? Is there any like console games, like old school ones that you were like you love, like Wally Bear and stuff like that? Is there any one of those that you'd be like, I'm kind of weirded out? People know I like this.
I mean, when I got into Dragon Warrior, when I got that, it was kind of an embarrassing thing to play. Just because it wasn't like embarrassing to. I didn't really care, but like I liked it. But it was when I first realized that there are certain games you can play with other people in the room, and then there are certain games you don't play with other people in the room. Like if a friend comes over, a friend doesn't want to watch you fucking play Dragon Quest.
You were embarrassed by your free Nintendo Power copy?
I mean, it wasn't like I said, embarrassment's not quite right, but it was just like
it felt weird.
Yeah, I don't need to play.
What do you do? You're just hitting A to fight constantly on these slimes for an hour and a half. And then
pretty much.
What are the bats called? It's like the second enemy.
Drakey's in that version.
Yeah, Drakey's. I was also gonna say Draco. I was like, it's Drakey sounds right on that. Yeah, I mean, okay. What the patrons have to do is make sure that we don't ask this ever again. They make sure that this one never comes up. But hey, I guess if they forgot about it, we forgot too. Let's go to some of the comments on here. That's on YouTube. Said, I'm embarrassed. I voted for hardest boss fights. That's funny. Tom asked, what's the hardest you've ever gotten during a game you were embarrassed to play? That's actually probably apropos, probably. Thanks, Tom. that's intelligent. Embarrassed to admit from Konacha, Sonic R, only the Sega Saturn version, and Hyperdimension Neptunia games when my wife is in the same room. What's so bad about Sonic R?
I don't know what would be bad about Sonic R other than the fact it's got a very, boisterous soundtrack.
Joshua said, I'm embarrassed to admit I always dress in the girls. I always dress in the girls in the skimpiest outfits and buy the bikini DLC outfits. Thankfully, my wife is just as depraved as I am and doesn't care. Chris said Call of Duty.
Yeah, all right.
As well. So there you go.
Not the only one.
And finally, Needle says none. If a game's fun, it's fun. End of story. It's not about being fun. It's about whether you want other people to know you think it's fun.
Right.
Then it's like, why do you think it's fun? Like that's like what's appealing to you? Well, thanks for that question. We'll get back to voicemails next week because Ian has his day job.
I gotta go.